All right, everybody, Bart at High Tech Motorsport, 763-712-9088, Elk River, Minnesota. It's Friday evening at like 8 o'clock at night. No, it's only like 5:45 or 5:30. We're finishing up Hellcat with all the upgrades. We changed out tires. We went to the bigger tire. We went to the Mickey Thompsons. We had Mickey Thompson 305 45 17s. We went to the 315 50s. They're 1.4 inches taller and about 1.5 inches wider. Mason's trying hard to stay out of the camera because, you know, that's what people do. Everybody's still here tonight having fun. Chris, John. We don't care about Bill. Bill. He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't want to be filmed. But one thing we're doing here, you guys should know about, when you're doing race slicks like this, you don't want them to slip on the inside of the car over hooks and leaves. We're using high-tack. Something or other.
John's got her.
John sold. Here we go. Permatex high-tack gasket sealant. For doing these things, it keeps the drives out. They're tough to get off again, but it'll keep everything from spinning around when you're not waiting for it. That's bad. So we're doing that, putting the high-tack on. After we had to clearance the wheel well a little bit. This has been moved back about 1 inch. They were rubbing right here, so we clearanced that back and then repainted up. Looks real trick. The 305 45s do not hit anywhere on Hellcat, but we decided we needed a little more grip with our stuff there. So the other thing we did, with the weight we took out of the car, the back end of the car was pogo stick high, so we had talked it over and instead of buying new springs, because they're a 650 rate spring allegedly, what we did is we took the rubbers off the top and bottom. John's going to hold those up now. So he took that off the top and bottom. It could click and clack a little bit on the track, don't care. Spring will stay in place. We picked up about 1.25 inches, John, 1.5 inches.
Yep.
So that allows the car to sit just a little bit butt high rather than stupid high. All right, so John's going to put these on. You'll see how they fit. Now the travel of the IRS actually starts to suck in a little bit as it goes toward the top right here. So hopefully we'll miss the wheel well if it does rock it that hard, but my guess is it really won't with that 650 rate spring. Even with full travel on the back, I'm going to guess we're only going to get within 1 inch, 1.25 inches, but we're going to do this on the street. We're going to do it on the dyno and see if it works. John's going to put those on. You can see how they're really wide. They're right up to the edge here with this stuff. The other thing we want to talk about, this is all the weight reduction. This is the video that you want to do if you've got a Challenger 392, Hellcat obviously. Even this works on the Demon. You're going to want to see this stuff that we did and lighten it all up. We're going to do the final weigh yet tonight. And then tomorrow back on the dyno with our with race gas and some new goodies. We had problems with the computer locking up. So underneath the car, here's the little turn downs that John made. You can see they're just aluminum extensions, don't weigh anything. Car's really kind of loud, but you end up with not having a problem with all the extra weight with the exhaust. And these can just be taken off again right here. Now this has got long tube headers, but you need an extension for the O2s, so that works out okay. So you get a nice read off the front O2s. Anyway, we're going to drop it down here as soon as the second tire is all done, and we'll go from there. Here's Bill doing the tire. Show him the little brush there, Bill.
A little brush, put a little bend in it.
Yeah.
Get it on there quick. Stuff dries pretty quick. You don't need a whole lot. Just some on the inside of the tire, some on the lip, and some on the bead of the wheel.
Let her rip, Tater Chip. Hopefully they stay stuck. If it spins inside there, we'll mark them when we go down. Looks like there's a Demonology sent us some information about some kind of a 9-second car deal. I don't know if they're renting the track down in Texas or whatever it is, but we're invited down on that. So that's February 9th. We'll probably do that rather than go into the test and tune. So perhaps we won't get thrown out. We'll continue on with this here in just a couple seconds. Mason, say hi.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, Mason's been dying to film all day, and so far I've fed him, and we've talked to the phone guy like 19 times because our phones were out today.
Wait, you fed him?
Yeah.
Oh, I see how it is.
Wow. Just can't make it up, can you?
No.
Jeez. All right, so the other three guys are starving here, but Mason's been fed. Kind of the way it is. Usually Fridays are we have a complete buffet on Fridays for everybody, but we're working on the Hellcat. And all you guys are talking about Corey putting that $5 toward the Hellcat. Just so you guys are aware, this is all a project for High Tech Motorsport. So we're the ones doing all the work on it at no cost to Corey. The parts are mine, so when this video is done, I'm going to Texas. I'm going to put all the parts on a pallet and put them up for sale. You guys can either pick them apart, or one guy can buy them all, or I can install them for him, or whatever you want to do. But Corey isn't paying me a dime for this, so let's be a little gentle on his $5 thing. He's really a pretty good guy. All right, Bartlett High Tech back here Friday night. We're finishing up the Hellcat. We're just putting the scales in the way. We just did the last tire, balancing up the rears on it. We want to see what it looks like with the springs actually in play after we took everything out. I'm going to show you this list of stuff we did again. So this is your keys to the kingdom if you want to know what everything weighs. You don't have to do all this or any of this. If you want to make the car faster, every 100 pounds is supposed to be worth a tenth. Some may argue and go, it's not really a full tenth. It's like, 0.997 or something like that. Well, whatever. Make yourself happy. Anyway, here's the list of everything we did. If you can't read it, we'll make a bigger copy for you, but everything's listed by the amount of pounds. First page is, we started out at 4403, as you guys know, with a half tank of gas. So that's where we're at now. Second page, everything we did. And here's the scary part. We're just talking this over. When I did everything and added it all up with the amount of weight we took off the car, it turned out to be 666. So, didn't do that on purpose. That was kind of a weird ass deal, so let's just kind of go with it for right now. The adders, you've got here the Kirky race seat, the 5-point harness, the trunk separator panel, the turn downs for the exhaust, the cyber bar for the seat and race harness, and the aluminum panel for the sunroof. That added 41 pounds back in. Then your costs and your part numbers are right here. You can't see them. I'll make sure that Mason gives you a better copy than this. If you can see it, great. If you can't, sorry. We'll make it up to you. And there's all your costs. So the total that we put into it, hard dollar cost, not counting labor, was $41.04, with the wheels and tires being half of what we did. So for right, we had $44.03 to start with, minus, we had 41 pounds in adders and 666 removal for a total of 625 deduction. So 4403 is what we started with, 625 pounds actual loss. When we drop the car on the scales, we should be at 3,778 if we did it right. So that's our 600-pound goal plus about another 22 pounds. So we're going to do that right now. Just putting the last wheel on, then we're going to take a look and see how the car looks. And I want to go over some stuff with John here. John, let's go over everything we did here, and you tell these guys at home if it's easy, hard, or whatever, so they know what to do.
Okay.
Hit it.
All right, so removing the exhaust, removing the sway bar, removing all the shielding underneath, everything in the trunk speaker, removing the wheel liners, removing the passenger seat, the floor mats, the rear seat, the carpet. You have to take the center console out for that, so it depends on the person. I'd say that's kind of up in the air. The interior paneling, that's all pretty easy. Rear seat belts and hardware, that's all pretty easy to remove. The front seat belts, if you're not going to put in a race seat, then at least the driver's stuff would have to stay.
And the race seat that we put in, we'll show it to you here in a second. That did suck. Nothing fits, nothing bolts up. You got to make custom mounts for it. It's annoying. I would say I would not do that. I'd find a cloth seat, put it in there. It's going to cost you a few pounds. We picked up like 50 pounds worth of doing it, but it was like 5 or 6 hours of work to get the thing right and to have different holes. So I would tell you not to do that, because nobody makes a seat that just drops right in that I know of. I looked from everybody, I couldn't find one, but that did suck. Yeah, continue.
The door panels, they come off pretty easy with some small hand tools and a panel popper. Same with the rear spoiler. It depends on how that's really glued on in your vehicle. The mirrors and stuff like that are, again, fairly straightforward. The brakes, that's where you're really going to start digging into the hard stuff along with the front crash bar. You know, the actual bumper itself up front. You know, that's getting pretty in depth and probably a little beyond the average weekend warrior, getting to that extent. Then we can go through, and the hood insulation comes off pretty easy as long as you're gentle with the clips. Swapping out the batteries pretty easy. The rear sway bar and the rear differential and stuff like that, that's going to be a lot more in-depth. A hoist is really recommended just to be able to get in and move all that stuff around. Transmission jack to help push up on the points that you need to. As far as, you know, the actual swap isn't bad. It's just more time consuming and getting everything to line back up as you put it back together. You know, the wheels and tires, depending on the size tire you pick out, they can just swap right on and be no real issue there. And again, the racing seat and harness, that's all getting pretty in depth. It can be done. Again, it just can take some fabrication time and material to get there. Along with covering up the hole going into the trunk. That's just time and material. Not too hard to do, but you do a cardboard template, take your time, trim it out, drill it, paint it, and that's all pretty straightforward.
And we're going to show them the template, and then we're going to measure it out for them here so they can see what it looks like. You just take cardboard and cut it up, and then do the aluminum to match up with it. It's a little bit of futzing around, but it's kind of cool looking. So let's just kind of go with that.
Yeah, and the V6 struts up front and stuff like that, that was all, again, just a swap out part. So it's just a matter of getting to the nuts and bolts, removing it, and bolting in the new piece. That's all pretty easy to do.
So the rest are all just the costs and what we did.
Okay.
And the pieces that we used. Everything has part numbers so you guys don't have to guess. I want to make it easy as I can for you at home. Chris is putting on the last wheel. We're going to drop this thing. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
So we're going to show you inside because Mason's been dying to get inside this car with the race seat. Because I don't know why, because he's a young kid that wants to get into a car with a race seat. So you can see right there's the Kirky race seat that was put in play. Saved a bunch of weight, but it's a real pain in the ass. We've got different bolt mounting holes here. So this is for human people, and no, you guys are right. I'm not going to drive it because that'd be like an extra 50, 60 pounds over everybody else minimum. And but we did put holes in here. So if Corey wants to drive the car, we can just move the seat brackets back, and then it's designed for a really tall guy. We had to put a brace in right there, but there's G-force stuff there. Everything is ready to go. Pretty happy with it. There's the aluminum in the back, sealed for the trunk for NHRA. Not that it was just tedious, but that's something you can do. And there's that cipher bar right there. That's kind of I don't know. I think it's okay, but it was kind of annoying, and stuff didn't really set up that well. I guess that's you don't need that if you're doing the regular seat, using the regular seat belt. So I'd tell you get a cloth seat out of a V6 and go from there. Well, come on, Mason, get in here. Tell me your impressions of getting into the car. You big wussy, get in there.
Feet off the ground.
Oh, get in the car. Kids nowadays act like he's jumping out of a fucking airplane. Oh, I can't say that anymore in our videos. Everybody gets crazy with me.
Ain't that bad. It's a little cold here in Minnesota.
Oh, for
but
God's sakes. Now he's worried about a heater. So the power wheel will work when the thing's fired up and moving. We put the console back in because of the automatic, what's got to go on. Everything works pretty good. We had it on the dyno, and then it pooped out the computer. We made some changes from there. We did put a set of brisk plugs in it, one heat range colder. Forget what the number is on that, but I'll list. Oh, there's the box. So you think you could drive the car?
yeah, I could drive it.
Sure he could. He's got a V6 Mustang, guys. He's on his game.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So there we go. So we put in, according to Brisk, they said ER12S's is what they wanted us to use. Gap down at, what, 28, John? 28 it is for supercharged. We don't blow it out there, recessed tip. Everybody's happy about that. So we're going to do the final drop down here and take a look at the way the car looks at the back. And we're going to look at the weights. Let's see if we got this zeroed out.
So you can park?
Yep. Nope. No. Parking brakes on. All right, drop her down, John. Let's see what we got. There you go. Let's see if we're close. The answer is 37, 38, 38, oh, now geez, keeps popping back and forth. 3791 it locked up on. So our calculations, everything we weighed, said it was going to be 3778. So we're 13 pounds off. Somewhere in there, we got 13 pounds more than we had. Somebody cut the windshield out. That'll make great. Let's see how it looks now with the springs. You can see the front. That's about right. That's got the V6 struts. We had to take some out of that, nice and soft and squishy. And there's the back end. That looks awesome right there. So the thing weight transfers, everything will slide. And we do have a caster or a camber kit coming from Ibach to adjust the camber on the wheels a little bit, just because it's off just a touch. But you can see it's off there already. It looks really, really good. Yes, I took the spoiler off the back so Corey can go crazy. Oh God, these are stiff shit, boy. So there you go. Tomorrow is dyno. The next day after that, we're going to go out and do some street running on Monday, which will probably get somebody arrested. Bill, how's your... Bill? No habla inglés. So this is what we're going to do, and hope you enjoy all this stuff, and hope someday when you're out there racing, pulling parts off and throwing them in the back, that the wife doesn't notice what you do. Mason, say goodbye.
Hey guys.
Bill? John, Superstar John. Where's Chris? Say goodbye, Chris. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're going to be on the dyno tomorrow. I'll let you know the numbers. Thank you.